Welcome to rSlash Am I the Butthole, where OP completely derails a bachelorette party. Am I the butthole for completely ruining my future sister-in-law's bachelorette party? I'm a 28-year-old woman. My parents' marriage was ruined because of a multi-level marketing scheme. What happened was, my mother joined a supplement MLM scheme, got way into it, drained both mine and my brother's college funds, and then went tens of thousands of dollars into debt to maintain her rank. When my father got injured and had to take time off work, the house of cards she built came tumbling down. We went from a loving home with 2 parents, a nice house in the suburbs, and at least $20,000 in a college fund, to our parents divorcing because she refused to leave the MLM. Having to live in a sucky basement in our grandparents' house and facing the reality of taking student loans if we went to college, as well as having to work as young teens to help provide for our family of 3. So, suffice to say, I hate MLMs with a passion. Now, onto the situation. My brother is marrying his fiancée of 4 years in 2 weeks. Last Saturday, I was invited to her bachelorette party. She said that she wanted a low-key night at her home with some food, alcohol, and some fun games. I get there, and including the bachelorette, there are 14 other women. 3 of them are my cousins, who are 19 and 18. After I arrived, one of the women stood up and said that now the fun can begin. Then she dragged out a big box of adult toys and started pitching us her MLM. From the get-go, this lady said that my sister-in-law agreed to host, and at the end of the night, depending on how much we got, she'll get some money to help her with the honeymoon. I was fuming. My sister-in-law knows how much both I and my brother-in-law hate MLMs. So I just stood up to leave. Then I told my younger cousins to grab their bags and follow me. My sister-in-law and the lady selling the MLM tried to stop me, but I just said that we had to leave. But at that point, I realized that I couldn't just leave the other women to be preyed on. So I went on a rant about MLMs and how scammy they are. I said, I bet after plying you guys with alcohol, you'll be pressured into buying stuff that you don't want, as well as joining into this pyramid scheme. My sister-in-law was crying by then, screaming at me to just leave, that I ruined her bachelorette party. I grabbed my cousins and left. And while I felt a bit bad about ruining her night, I did not feel bad about standing up to a scammer at all. My brother says that while he completely understands where I'm coming from and that he had a really big fight with her, I should have just left with my cousins without ruining the night altogether. So, am I the butthole? Okay, look. If your sister-in-law wants to have her bachelorette party be an MLM pitch meeting, then that's well within her rights. But for her to invite victims of an MLM scheme and expect you to just go along with it, smiling and being like, oh, cool, sign me up, that's just idiotic. That is beyond stupid. That's like what? That's like inviting an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, to a wine tasting party. Oh man, also, down in the comments, OP clarifies just how much of a scam this meeting really was. She writes, it absolutely was a sales pitch. There were drinks, but no food. This is a tactic used to drop your inhibitions. My mom used it. All the games were related to the MLM. Bingo to win some of the toys, a naughty questionnaire related to the toys, as well as a raffle, but she also clearly stated that we were expected to buy toys so that my sister-in-law could win a cash prize, as well as it being a great business opportunity. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I do agree that your response was very dramatic and extreme, but at the same time, I can't really blame you because MLMs literally destroyed your family. Honestly, I respect you for trying to protect your cousin and the other girls. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your sister-in-law and the MLN hun 2 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for refusing to stop living my life for my kids? I got divorced a year ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I was basically a maid for the family. It was awful, not to mention I was working at the same time. Overall, it's been a bit rough for the kids, with the youngest being 14 and the oldest being 17. They're doing well overall, and we basically have 50-50 split custody. It's wonderful to have days off with so much new free time when the kids aren't home, so I've been able to explore new hobbies. I recently joined a models club. You build little models of things and show them off. We meet once a month to show off our creations. I love it. My 17-year-old messed up this week. He volunteered for a bake sale, but didn't tell me and forgot to make cupcakes. I was about to leave for my meeting last night, and he was panicking about not having it done. He asked me if I could do it, and I told him no since I was leaving. He was also leaving to hang out with his friends. This morning, the cupcakes weren't made since I wasn't doing it. We got into a huge fight about me not helping him out. But I'm not putting my life on hold for a simple mistake that he did. He left to go to his father's, and his father and I also got into an argument with him calling me a jerk. Yo, hold up. This guy is 17. I could understand if he were 8 and he needed your help. I could understand if he were... I'll even extend that courtesy to a 12-year-old and say if a 12-year-old needs help, then okay, mom, you should help. But come on, a 17-year-old kid, that's basically an adult, let's be honest. And why can't he make the cupcakes? Not because he's busy with homework, not because he has sports clubs obligations. No, because he wants to go hang out with the boys. OP, I would actually even go so far as to say that if you helped your son here, you would be doing him a disservice because he needs to learn responsibility for his actions. He volunteered for the bake sale, he's the one who forgot to tell anyone, and he's the one who doesn't want to make the cupcakes. So, if you ask me, it's his problem to fix. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your son and your ex-husband 1 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for not giving my girlfriend my dinner after I'd already bought her dinner? I'm a 29-year-old man and my girlfriend is 25. I live in New York City, and there's a popular app where you buy leftover restaurant food. Restaurants advertise surprise bags at a reduced price in order to reduce food waste. The customer doesn't know what they're getting until they pick up the food, but the cost is like 3 times lower than the normal menu price. These bags are hit or miss. Sometimes you get exactly what you want at a greatly reduced price, but sometimes you get something that you otherwise wouldn't have picked from the menu. I ordered a surprise bag from a barbecue place that I was picking up on the way home yesterday. I texted my girlfriend asking if she wanted one, but she said no, she wasn't in the mood for barbecue. However, there was an Indian restaurant right next door that also had surprise bags available on the app, so she ordered one of them. The barbecue was $12 and the Indian food was $10. When I got home, I unpacked the meals to see what I got. I was psyched about my bag. Since I paid $12, I knew the value had to be at least $36, but honestly, the platter looked a lot more expensive. This was a hit! There were burnt ends, rib, pulled pork, baked bean, potato salad, bread, onions, and pickles. My girlfriend, however, was less lucky. Her surprise bag only had 6 different types of soup, half of them being variations on cauliflower soup. She was disappointed to say the least. She asked if we could share my barbecue and I said, "No, I'm hungry. I offered to buy you some already and you said no, so I'm gonna devour it." She got mad and called me a butthole. I told her that if she didn't want soup, she should have ordered something specifically instead of using the surprise bag app. I then told her to just order something off a food delivery app. She said that she didn't want to spend the money. Another bit of context is that I make a lot more money than her and I pay all of our rent. I know that she's running a bit low on cash right now. I then tell her that if she doesn't want to pay for delivery, I'll walk to the bodega on our street and can buy her something there. She says the grill is probably off there and she wants a hot meal. I tell her she has soup. Anyway, she thinks that I'm the butthole, but in my defense, 1, I offered to buy her barbecue to begin with, which she declined. 2, she picked out her own food and I grabbed it for her on my way home. 3, when she wasn't satisfied, I suggested 2 other solutions. So, Reddit, am I the butthole? I love this reply from Old Style Thor. So, you had plenty of good food, could have shared it, had a good time and gone to bed happy and in love. But instead, you're sitting here asking strangers on Reddit if you're a butthole? You're the butthole. I don't want to sound too sappy and sentimental, but it reminds me of wedding vows. You know, you say in sickness and in health. And you hear that so often in TV and shows and weddings that it kind of loses its meaning, but you kind of have to stop and remind yourself and think about it. That whole line, in sickness and in health, for better or worse, it means sharing the good times as well as the bad times. So what you're saying here, OP, is that your wins are your wins alone, and her losses are her losses alone. Just share, man. Just share. If the roles were reversed and you got $36 worth of lard and she got a banger Indian meal, would you have asked for some of her food? Probably, right? Probably. So even though technically you're in the right here, I'd say from the standpoint of being like a good person and a good boyfriend, you're definitely in the wrong. OP, I'm giving you 1 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your girlfriend 0 out of 5 buttholes. I've seen a couple of replies down in the comments where people are saying, technically you're not the butthole, but I wouldn't want to have you as my boyfriend. And I think that's a pretty good read on the situation. Am I the butthole for telling my son that he and his fiancée are spoiled? I'm a 57-year-old man. My son, who's 23, is engaged to Peggy, who's 22. They've been engaged for 5 months or so. Our culture dictates that Peggy's father and I share the cost for their wedding. Peggy's father said that we should each provide $10,000 each, so a total budget of $20,000. I could afford this, sure, but this seems insane and extravagant to me. I said that I would give $5,000 and he should give whatever he wanted. Peggy's father also put up $5,000. I told my son this, and he told me outright that it wasn't going to be enough. He said, I don't mind. I figured that me and Peggy would have to pay for some of the wedding. I asked what he meant. He said that there was no way that they'd be able to do their wedding under $10,000. I said that my wedding, after haggling and deals, only came out to around $7,000, so I don't think that this is an issue. He argued against me and said that my wedding was 40 years ago and prices were different. He outlined some prices and said the cheapest venue he could find was $5,000 and that food alone was going to be $2,500. He again said that he didn't mind and he thanked me for giving them money for the wedding, but I honestly felt hurt that he thought that we weren't giving enough. I said, how could food come out to $2,500? And he pointed out that that was only around $25 per person. I suggested ordering pizzas or sub sandwiches, but he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, okay, well, we can just offer less for the photographer and decorator, and he said that's not how things are done. I said that it is how things are done, and maybe if Peggy and him aren't spoiled and expecting the best of the best for everything, then $10,000 would be plenty. After I said this, he just closed his eyes and thanked me for the money, and basically told me to get out. I was complaining about this instance to my wife, and she told me that I was being a stick in the mud and it's his only wedding. My friends agree with me though. Am I the butthole? Okay, every once in a while, it's nice to get a reminder that all those memes you see about out-of-touch boomers not understanding how the world has changed since they were kids, they're not really parodies. It's an actual portrayal of what these morons actually think the world is like. How can you honestly think that $7,000 30 years ago is the same thing as $7,000 today? Are you dense? Okay. I just looked it up. OP said that his wedding was 40 years ago. And 40 years ago, $7,000 is the equivalent to $25,000 today. Actually, $25,900, so almost $26K. So actually, OP's son is asking for less money for his wedding than OP got for his wedding. I don't want to trash too much on boomers because I'm sure there's a couple of random boomers who listen to my videos. But why is it that generation is so incapable of understanding inflation? Everyone knows what inflation is. And if it happens every year, money gets less valuable, you need more dollars to buy the same thing. How do you live for like 60 years and not understand that simple concept? OP, you are the butthole here. I'm giving you 2 out of 5 buttholes for being hypocritical and selfish. You called your son spoiled and entitled when you are literally more spoiled and entitled than he is because your wedding budget was bigger than his wedding budget, you moron. Am I the butthole for humiliating my friend at my fundraiser because she outed me? I was at a fairly large fundraiser that I organized tonight, and it got completely ruined by my ex-friend, Jenna. I'm quite open with my friends about my line of work, which is sex work, but I'm not open with family and those that I don't know well. During the event, I was talking to a group and Jenna blurted out, "She can donate so much because she makes so much making adult videos." I was stunned. It became incredibly awkward. I pulled Jenna aside and asked her, "What the hell?" She said that it wasn't a big deal, but I told her it is a big deal to me. It's not her information to share. She tried dismissing it and I got angry. I told her to leave. It became a heated argument. After some back and forth, I told her that at least I work for my money and I don't need a rich partner that I don't love to get the lifestyle I want. That's a true fact, by the way. She told me in the past that she's only with her boyfriend because he's rich. She still refused to leave and caused a huge scene. Eventually, I called security and had her kicked out. After the event, I checked my phone. Our argument got recorded, but only halfway through, so the part about me being a sex worker was missing. But it did include the part that I said about her partner and her being kicked out. The video's been shared within our circle a lot. Jenna has blown up my phone. She's furious. Apparently, her boyfriend saw the video and broke up with her. She told me I humiliated her and ruined her relationship. Am I the butthole? Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. So she can humiliate you and potentially ruin your relationships with people, but you can't humiliate her and ruin her relationships? What's wrong, Jenna? Are you upset that OP shared information that wasn't hers to share? You got what you deserved. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving Jenna 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. That was rSlash Am I the Butthole? And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.